I think President Trump got exactly what he wanted. What I noticed, I wrote down, like, not drinking out of toilets. That didn't happen, including with Russians. I think we found out that answer to that. Most corrupt presidency in history. Millions died due to Trump. Did you catch that?
Because of health care.
Because of health care, and a few other things.
The thing I picked up on initially, the first speaker, Pressley, she refused to refer to Donald Trump as the president of the United States,
yes,
but only as the occupant of the office.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's not going to be a compromise here.
Yeah, that's very Antifa.
Yeah, Donald Trump won that press conference. Nancy and the squad lost. That was a terrible look. It seems like they want to victimize themselves even further. I don't think that's the way to go against President Trump. I think you have to stand up and meet him on the same level. They're continuing to play the victim, and they're continuing to pout. And now they want to impeach him for tweeting. They're saying that he's a white nationalist and he's, committing human rights violations and deporting all these people. Obama actually deported more and also put people in cages. The point of this is this. AOC likes to talk about how much she loves this country, and they all up there saying how much they love this country. If you want to bankrupt this country, if you want to open up all the borders, if you want to destroy the military, destroy capitalism, and focus on illegal immigrants more than American citizens, well, then I think I have a different opinion of love than she does.
I want to know that definition. But later.
We'll talk later.
But you won't do that like meatloaf.
Yeah.
How do I follow that, Jesse Waters? My God. I mean, let me say this. I mean, as the Democrat up here, I mean, I feel for them. I know that they are incredibly passionate about a number of the things that they said, and they brought up some policy areas that I think, could actually have legitimate dialogue around. That being said, they tried, but I think they failed to say that there was this theme of this is a distraction. These tweets are a distraction. And at the same time, then they circled back. They circled back to impeachment and racism and all these other issues. And then what happens? We're talking about the minutia of their words and the occupant of the White House and these sort of things. So if they really don't want to be a distraction, number one, don't hold this press conference. And number two, actually do the work of the people. I say that for everybody, Democrat, Republican, Independent. If you're there and you are elected to do your job, do it. We don't play games. And if you don't want to be a distraction, mean it.
Couple takeaways from this, all right? Number one, the occupant line was a complete, utter disgrace. You can't on one hand say, oh, this is horrible. The president asked 4 duly elected members of Congress to fix their countries, and then turn around and say, well, he's illegitimate because he's an occupant of the West. So whatever help they thought, you said at the beginning, you know what, probably amongst 10% of the electorate, you guys scored huge. You ladies scored huge. Other than that, you entirely blew it. But secondly, they said, well, the squad is powerful. No, it's not. You got exactly 0 votes, okay, on the Green New Deal. You were the only 4 to vote against this aid package at the border. And I ran for Congress and lost, and I think only got like 15,000 less votes than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in a D+26 district.
Right.
So she's not as powerful as they think. And that press conference, I think, did them absolutely no favors. I think Trump comes out of that an enormous winner. Occupant in the White House is really just disgraceful.
Can we also mention the profanity?
Yeah, but,
or no, you don't want to.
Well, I guess. I mean, here's the thing. They can argue that, well, that's what Trump said, so I'm going to say it. Okay,
well, yeah, but he didn't say it on live television
no,
at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. These are things that they're quoting from other places. He didn't say it on television.
This is from the only person on the 5 who ever swore on our show. calling a man with an alligator.
I saw that.
Here's Trump's latest tweet. I think this happened during the thing. The Dems were trying to distance themselves from the 4, quote, progressives, but now they are forced to embrace them. That means they are endorsing socialism, hate of Israel, and the USA. Not good for the Democrats! Exclamation points. Was this the plan? Was this 4D chess, Jesse?
I don't know if that was the plan or not, but that's the result. Now he's gotten the Democrats to circle the wagons around these 4 individuals called the Squad, and they're highly unpopular, highly controversial, and they're going to fundraise like through the roof off this thing. In a way, I think, I don't know this for sure, they're enjoying this moment in the spotlight. They're going to raise their profiles big time. They're going to run into a strong headwind with Nancy. She's not going to want to talk about this anymore.
Right.
And then to your point earlier, if this country was really doing badly, and we were in a recession, and this was the 70s, and there was lines around the block for gasoline, and we were at war, and we're at each other's throats in the streets, that would be one thing for them to call for this impeachment of this horrible criminal. But this country is booming right now. You have the lowest black and Hispanic unemployment. We're at peace. Everyone's focused on Netflix, taking out Friends and The Office.
That wasn't
Things are so good right now. We're worrying about a tweet.
Yep.
They should only take out a few seasons of The Office.
And then
Like the older ones without Michael Scott.
And then you had to hunt for them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they are the four progressive horsemen of the apocalypse for the Democrats right now. In 25 years from now, this might be where America is. But hopefully not. But I mean, that is not where America is right now. So I would imagine they might fundraise off of it. But the president and the RNC is about to announce that they raised $108 million in the second quarter of this year. Money is not going to be a problem for the Republicans in this re-election effort at all. And maybe not for the Democrats either, but money's not going to be a problem.
And we're not talking about the hilarious. I mean, let's think about what the big story was coming into this weekend. The ICE raids. What happened? Where did that go?
Well, nothing happened.
Not much happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying we're not even talking about it.
You know what else we're not talking about? We're not talking about Joe Biden.
Yes.
We're not talking about Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren. They have just moved these front runners completely off the front page. And I think Biden had an announcement about his new health care plan today.
Yes.
That's going nowhere. I think Nancy is not happy with this.
If you like your health care, you can keep your health care. Legitimately.
He's the one Democrat that says that.
But what they said, though, is entirely disingenuous, especially Ilhan Omar, who has spent a significant amount of time unquestionably taking shots at people. And then in the press conference, it comes out, and it was nice, and the talk was lovely, and she talks in these flowery terms. But that's not how she is on Twitter. Anti-Semitic tropes, we're not living our values in the United States. That does not appeal to people in America who love it. Listen, we're a flawed country. We're all sinners. We get it. But nobody wants to hear about how your country is crap all the time. I'm sorry.
But I will say this, and I don't agree with, again, a lot of what the SCOD stands for, and I've been very vocal about my criticism, particularly of Omar's comments on Israel and things of that nature. But you have to admit that those women that are standing on that stage have had a distinctly different kind of experience in the United States than many of their colleagues. That doesn't make it right or wrong. It makes it different, and that different experience informs how they come into government.
But it's a good experience.
They're a protected class.
AOC, I know the area well. She grew up in. She always mentions the Bronx, but she's actually the congresswoman for Jackson Heights, where my father and my grandparents, by the way, who are from an immigrant family from Italy. They owned a fish store up in Harlem. AOC is a sitting United States congresswoman. Yeah. She is listen, regardless of her politics,
of the American dream.
She is an American success story. Ilhan Omar, an even more profound success story. The story coming from them that America is an awful place, there is a cognitive dissonance there. Are you not getting it? You're in Congress. You have power. You have money. You have influence. You cannot do this anywhere else in the world.
Agreed. And they're trying to take advantage of that in the way that they think is best in their heads. Again, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm saying that that's how they...
But America sucks is not a message. I'm sorry.
America First sounds much better than that. And, you know, to your point about Omar, she says she's got this great ear for racism. She can hear it, read between the islands. She hears all these dog whistles. But anti-Semitism?
This is it. Every
Can't
time.
hear a thing. So that's why I think she's being disingenuous. She picks up every little thing in between the lines, if it's racist, if it's not racist. But she goes and say it's all about the Benjamins. What? Oh, that's anti-Semitic.
There was a great column.
Can't have it both ways.
There was a great column written by Ayan Ali, who also was a refugee.
I read Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, thank you. Big reader of the Wall Street Journal as well. And it goes into that history and that background, and in particular for Omar, and how it takes a different outlook of how she was brought up.
That is
especially when she was in Somalia.
And she basically said how she had to unlearn anti-Semitism that was disgusting things that were taught to her as a child, and how she feels that some people have never unlearned that. And based on some of the language used in these awful tweets speaking about Jewish people around the world, it's gross. And we should be able to call it out.
That's why I talk about the fact that, like, in a way, they're in a protected class in which they're allowed to say things because then we go, but they had a different life experience. And I, when I called them the snail darters because it's a small, insignificant group that everybody protects.
When I called them that.
Yes, when you called them that. That was a great
I read
analogy.
your monologue. Yeah, it was great. Also a difference, too, is that these women are minorities who are being criticized. But they're not being criticized because they're minorities. Yes. And that's a big distinction.
You know who wrote that this weekend?
Who?
Maureen Dowd.
She did?
Yes.
I didn't even read
in the
it.
New York Times. She said, people are not disagreeing with you because of your color. They're disagreeing with you because of your ideas.
Right. I mean, and I think if these were, white guys from Ohio, and they were saying the exact same thing as Omar and AOC, Trump would be ripping him a new one as well.
He's an equal opportunity guy when it comes to filleting people he thinks are saying the wrong thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean...
None of which is particularly presidential. But.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't xenophobic going after Cruz for coming from Canada. I don't know.
That's the whole JFK, assassin conspiracy theory probably was below the belt.
That was true. I'm kidding, okay?